Hey everybody, welcome to Kyle Not Kyle Show. I'm Kyle.
I'm not Kyle.
And we're doing our NFC record predictions and playoff picture. So we're just going to dive right into this. Let's go with the North again. We'll start with the NFC North, the Bears, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Lions. I have the Bears winning that division at 12-4. I think that defense is going to just keep them going right where they picked up. Who do you have winning?
I'm just going to preface this with all this. I would not be shocked, and this is the one division in the entire NFL, the conference, the division, I mean, that I had the hardest picking one to. I think the Lions are going to take fourth again. I think that's.
I have them taking fourth as well.
I can literally see three teams, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Bears, all being 11-5. I can actually see that happening. That being said, I got the Vikings taking first place.
Yeah, I have them at second and making the playoffs. I have them going 11-5.
I've got them winning more than 10 or more.
Mm-hmm.
Got the Vikings at 10 or more. I've got Green Bay taking 2 in that division.
Mm-hmm. Ooh.
10 or more. And then I've got the Bears at 3. The reason I say that, and it is the reason, is I don't think Chicago's offense is powerful enough to put up 24 points a game in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that defense, defense wins championships.
Yeah.
That's how that goes. But it's not like the Vikings and the Packers are going to have pansy defenses.
Yeah.
I'm going, it's going to be tough too. So I actually have, and like I said, if it doesn't go this way, I'm not going to be like, what? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I have Chicago sitting out.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So I have
If Trubisky turns into Watson, if Trubisky turns into Mahomes,
yeah.
Who else was he drafted with?
Mahomes, Watson.
I think
it was Kaiser. Deshaun Kaiser.
No, I think that's a different set of years. Anyways, he's not Mahomes.
No.
And he's not Watson. He's like a distant third there.
Yeah.
And he's got to be able to put up some points.
And he was the one taken first out of those three.
Yep. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. So I have the Bears going 12-4. I have the Vikings go 11-5. I have the Packers going. I had them going 9-7, but I could see them going 9-7 or 10-6 either way. And then I have the Lions going 8.
Where do you see their deficiencies at? I know this is different from last time. Mm-hmm. Where do you see? Because I just told you where I see the Bears' deficiency is their offense.
Mm-hmm.
Their offense. And last year I thought the Packers had an inferior defense. But if you look at their offseason moves, their defense looks phenomenal. Now it's on paper.
Yeah.
They've improved leaps and bounds. And I think of all the teams in that division, the most complete team is the Vikings.
Yeah. I stick with that just mostly because you can't trust Rodgers' health anymore. He has shown over the last several years he is becoming injury prone. And if you take him out and put a backup in, that's not going to do anything for him.
How many games did he miss last year?
I want to say he missed.
He missed no games.
I swore he missed a couple games late in the year.
No games.
Okay, well, fine. Hey, you know what? Prove it to me again this year. I don't think mostly this also stems from because all the little pot shots going back and forth between him and the head coach. He doesn't like how the head coach is doing anything. Oh, the head coach isn't pandering to me. Well, yeah, you're not.
Head coach is gone.
Exactly. The coach that pandered to your every whim is gone. Now you've got a head coach over here that's trying to set the tone for this team, and he's not going to let you tell him what to do. You have one Super Bowl win.
Absolutely, he is.
You have one Super Bowl win that was 10 years ago. Haven't made the playoffs the last 4 years. But yeah, you tell him how to win. Mm-hmm.
As opposed to the coach who's never been a head coach, never sniffed the playoffs, has been understudy to understudies. That's absolutely what's going to happen. Rodgers is going to go, I don't want this play. I'm going to audible at the line. It's the defense but what has been their what happened to him? Their clavicle.
Yeah, it's been their clavicle.
I also know that what I've noticed in dealing with you over the last few years, anytime there's a comparison to any human being on the planet and Tom Brady, you instantly hate them.
I don't hate them.
How do you have such anger towards Aaron Rodgers, who's not a divisional guy, who
it's anger
like,
towards him.
What is this? Because I watched Tom Brady get up in Josh McDaniels' face and point a finger at him, and you think it's a man love fest, that there's no problems in New England. It's like, how is that not a problem? I never saw Rodgers do that. I've seen him get mad, but I've never seen him do that. But somehow, Rodgers is bad for the morale of the team, but not Brady. Brady's not bad for the morale of the team, even though he's calling the offensive coordinator. This is what the conversation would have been. Bleep, 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 bleep.
Well, if you could read lips, that's basically what it was. No, my issue is I don't hate Aaron Rodgers. I don't feel angry towards Aaron Rodgers. I think he's a great quarterback. I'm just tired of everyone just saying, "Oh, he's so good because he throws Hail Marys." I don't want a quarterback that has to throw that many Hail Marys. Well, I want a quarterback that throws touchdowns to avoid Hail Marys.
Yeah, but that's just the one of those icing on the cake type of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I still have questions about the Packers.
I do too. Like I said, their defense is on paper.
Yeah, exactly. Paper defense. Let's see what they do in real. All right, we'll move on to the NFC South.
New Orleans.
Oh yeah, New Orleans. I have them making it. I have them going 13-3.
I have them at over 12 wins, 12 or more wins.
Yeah, I could see them 12-4, 13-3. I have the Falcons. I could see them
14-2 or 15-1. But yeah. I'm gonna go a little on the conservative side and say 12 or more.
Yeah. I have the Falcons and Panthers both going 10-6.
Really?
Like you said, Falcons. They could have done a lot better last year. They just got so many injuries.
Yep.
Just completely derailed their season. Panthers, I think, with they got that wide receiver coming into his second year now. They got Christian McCaffrey, Cam Newton. I think they're going to be just fine. And then Bucks, I've going 5-11.
I have New Orleans going 12 or more. I have Atlanta at 10 or less.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Panthers at less than 9.
Right.
And I have the Falcons at 10 or more. Sorry.
10 or more. Okay.
I've got the Panthers at 9 or less and the Buccaneers at 8 or less.
Okay. So we're in agreement there. Bucks mostly just because that's a dumpster fire, right? Like we were saying, Jameis got sacked how many times in the first quarter?
It was a preseason game.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But I don't think that's an indictment on Tampa Bay as much as that's a massive bonus on Cleveland's defense.
Mm-hmm.
Because their defense, remember, you got to remember, Tampa Bay's defense, look at that roster and you go, "Oh, that's a top 5 defense."
Yeah, on paper, and it was the same thing last year.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Same thing last year. It was like, "Oh man, top 5 defense, they're looking great." Oops, what's happening?
What's always amazing to me is their offense.
Yeah.
I don't know what games did I see? Because I know last year, when Fitzgerald was lighting it up, or not Fitzgerald, Fitzpatrick was doing 500 yards a game for 4 games and 17 million touchdowns and everything else. Right. I think that skewed everything because they had last year, they had the #1 yard offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you're going, okay, well, that didn't translate to wins.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I watched the preseason. I know it's preseason, but Newton doesn't look that good.
No.
He did not look he didn't look crisp, he didn't look sharp, he looked kind of sluggish. His throws were low throws, not high throws. And anytime the quarterback who's well into 6 feet is throwing low, he's compensating for his legs.
Yeah.
So he's throwing low. I'm going, okay, that means he's when he goes to drive the ball downfield, he's going to have to set and throw as opposed to go and throw.
Yeah.
And I think he might still have the arm, but I think he's just been hit so many times. He hurt his ankle too. That was the other thing.
Yeah. Which that was really interesting because then there was a whole raging debate on Twitter after that Patriots-Panthers game because people were saying, okay, look at this. He went out with an injury. Is it time to put the injury-prone tag on him? And oh, my gosh, you would have thought someone called him a name. Oh, it was – people got so mad.
I don't think you can do it in preseason.
No, but I mean, if he gets hurt this year again, then I think that is a legitimate debate to have.
Oh, absolutely. And not injury. It's not injury prone. That's not accurate. Injury prone is when you don't finish a year. Mariota is injury prone.
Yes.
Where I have never finished a year.
Yeah.
I think what happens, and it's just like with Luck. This is my thing. They've accumulated the hits. It's like the concussion thing. At which number concussion is your brain goo? There's a number. Nobody knows that number, but there is a number.
Well, who was
and I
it?
just think he's. It reminded me, and I said this last year. And this happened 2 years ago to Eli, where they can't make the back foot throws. This happened to Brady last year. Just the zip on the ball in the latter part of the season, off his back foot. They didn't have that super zip. I mean, you look at Mahomes and Mayfield, they're throwing it off their different hands and everything else and sideways flips, and they're throwing it for 40 yards like it's a laser beam. That used to be Brady and Eli. They could do those throws.
Yeah.
Now there's just, if they have to throw it off their back foot, there's just not that velocity anymore. And that's usually, to me, when a quarterback, it's where the smarter ones will go, I'm not going to throw it deep as much. And it's not gonna really affect anything. Newton's a big arm throwing guy. If he's not able to throw those deep passes, they're not going to score that much because they're going to just go, okay, McCaffrey. We know McCaffrey's going to get the ball. McCaffrey will have phenomenal fantasy numbers, but it won't equate to wins for the Panthers.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. All right, moving on to NFC West. This one is an interesting division for me because you got a team.
You're not on the San Francisco hype train, are you?
Somewhat, maybe.
She looked like a high school quarterback, man. That guy go down as the biggest bust in NFL history.
Okay. Can I say something?
Yeah. There's injury prone. That's injury prone.
Okay. And I don't get why this is suddenly becoming news because this was a major talking point in New England. Jimmy G has never looked good in practice. He has never looked that good in preseason. You get him in a regular season game, he looks fine.
Wrong. Last year preseason, he looked like he was, when he was with New England, the preseason before last year, when he got traded, he dominated preseason. I don't know what you're even talking about. He was ripping it up.
Yeah, it's also everyone's going off his 1 for 6 line. He looked much better week 3.
No, but he didn't look. He looked phenomenal in preseason the last year he was with New England.
Yeah,
I think that's why they got a second round for him because he looked really good.
There was a
San Francisco, and he looked okay.
After that game,
last year, he didn't.
After that game, someone went and found that they actually went through and dug through all the draft stuff and the trades and convoluted paths and figured out exactly what we got from the Jimmy G trade. Oh my gosh, we got like 6 players and still one more to come in this next draft just from all the trades that have happened involving that pick. And we trade it for this pick, then we trade that pick for this. It's insane. It's crazy, and it's also quite laughable.
I haven't seen a starter look that bad. I'm just saying this. Case Keenum looked like he was the second coming of Johnny Unitas compared to Garoppolo. Garoppolo looked like he hadn't thrown in a number 1 offense against the number 1 defense. He was pushing the ball. He doesn't even throw like that. We had a different throwing motion at one point. I was just going, okay, something better happen. And it wasn't that he was gun shy about getting hit. He was trying to move his lower body in ways so he wouldn't get hit.
Oh.
And it was but he was still trying to stay in the pocket. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, okay, did they yell at him like, don't run the ball, don't go out there? It's like, yeah, you don't want to run if you don't have to. But he tried to turn the ball upfield last year.
Yeah.
He tried to turn into a running back as opposed to just running out of bounds.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yards.
I agree.
All I know is that guy can't have a good year. He's going to have Jimmy G MVP have kind of conversation for San Francisco to do it. Because I'm telling you right now, they go 2-2. 2-2. That's it. 2-2. There's going to be talk about bringing that guy that played the last 4 games last year, the number 3 quarterback.
Oh, Mullins or whatever his name was?
Yep. Bring him back. Get rid of Garoppolo. You watch. I'm
sure there will be. Yeah. Hey, you know what? It all works out perfectly according to plan. They'll cut Jimmy G, and he can just come slide right back into New England.
It always looks like, to me, I always look like, no matter what happens, Belichick's won the most money at the table. You just go, did he lose any hands? Well, he didn't win any hands. Well, then how come he has the most money at the table? Nobody knows. Nobody's paying attention. All that stuff. He gets rid of guys that everybody's like, oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I kind of said that when I saw that we'd cut Ryan Bailey. I was like, oh, really? Okay, guy who, very well could have been in the conversation for MVP last Super Bowl. Okay, and then I watched this kid Bailey, and I'm like, oh, I see why we cut him. This guy's just as good. Which it's really weird too because it's the first time in years we've had a right-footed punter between Ryan Allen.
We're talking about New England on the NFC.
I know. I'm sorry. Okay, getting back to it. I have the Rams winning the NFC West. I have them going. I could see them going 12-4 or 13-3. I think they're going to be kind of hungry to prove themselves. That game was just a fluke, and they are the real deal. I have the Seahawks going 11-5.
Really?
Yeah, I have them going 11-5.
Wow.
I have the Niners going 9-7, and I have the Cardinals going 4-12.
I've got the Rams going 12 or more wins. I've got the Seahawks going 10 or more. I think they're going to hit that 10. I don't think they're going to go much past that 10, if at all. I see the Niners 9 or less, and then the Cardinals at 6 or less.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the Rams are going to get back Cooper Kupp, which you just look back, you go to that Super. I'm just going to tell you this right now, and you tell me what you would rather see as a New England fan in the Super Bowl playing the Rams again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They get back Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense loses Ndamukong Suh, but picks up Clay Matthews and Eric Weddle.
Right.
You as a New England fan, which team would you rather see? This year's team or last year's team?
Oh, last year's team.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm going, they got better. How in the hell did they get better?
Yeah.
However, I'm serious about this, if Gurley can't play come playoff time, I think they cut him.
I do too.
I don't think he's going to be a Ram the following year.
Yeah,
they got to figure out something.
We're not paying you for regular season. We're paying you to get us to the postseason and then perform.
That's McVay.
Yeah.
Because I'm going, how important is it to have the best record as opposed to going into the playoffs with the strongest team you've got?
Yeah.
Because was it CJ Anderson or CJ Spiller?
Yeah. No, it was CJ Anderson.
I mean, he was a different kind of back. He was a big bruiser back. Yeah. But you just go, okay, why did we need Todd Gurley? But then you go back to the regular season and go, oh yeah, because he put up 28 touchdowns. That's why.
Yeah. I don't. And then Seattle, the thing with Seattle, and I love Seattle. They're a running team, and Baldwin's gone, and they got that massive wide receiver. Metcalf, yeah.
That looks like a defensive linebacker. I mean, this guy is huge.
There was a photo of him, like, not even 2 yards away from Tyler Lockett. And, yeah, it looks like he's like 100
Oh, he's massive.
He's a foot taller.
And I'm going, is this going to be the year where Russell Wilson is able to hit a lot of those intermediate passes as opposed to running? Because I don't know if you noticed this. He does short passes or long bombs. That's kind of a thing. And Baldwin was their deep threat.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, everything that's been coming out of their camp and what I've seen in preseason, this Metcalf guy is faster than Baldwin and as strong of a runner as any of the running backs.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how injury is gonna do anything, but that is, to me, I
think they said they plan on him being able to go week 1.
Yeah, I mean durability for the whole season is what I'm getting at. Because I know a lot of times if they're played a lot, look at Sony Michel. That just the intensity and the duration of the season is very different than in the pros than it is in college. They got a couple years to acclimate to that. Yeah. I see, and like I said, I could see Seattle. I could see them going past that 10 mark, but not much. Yeah. And I think with the NFC North, the way that it is, because let me put it to you this way. If the Seahawks go to Green Bay, who would you take?
Oh.
Okay, stop. It's a hard decision, right? It
really is.
If Seattle goes to Minnesota, who do you take? If Seattle goes to Chicago, who do you take? Now flip that around. If those three teams go into Seattle, it's pretty neutral. You're going, I could see this go either way.
Yeah.
If Los Angeles goes into Green Bay or Green Bay comes into Los Angeles, if Chicago, Minnesota, or Green Bay come into Los Angeles, I'm taking Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I think that is what's going to make the difference right there in that. And that's why that, to me, that NFC North, as opposed to, because I had them, that's why it's going back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be shocked if the Seahawks make the wild card. I'm just not going to be.
Yeah.
But it'll be bumping out one of those. If it happens, because we haven't talked about the East yet, and that's where I think is where my chewing gum underneath the desk is at, because that's the division I think that's going to change the landscape of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think you and I are very different in that respect, because I only have one team going to the playoffs there, and
well, see, that's where I've got the NFC East. I think it's going to come down to, because I think it's week 16 or week 17 that the Eagles play the Cowboys again. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to decide the division.
I agree.
But both of them have what it's one of those things. The games where you're going are their home games, where you would kind of give the nod to the home team.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, I see both of them. That's why I didn't take. Otherwise I would have had possibly three teams coming out of the North. Mm-hmm. I see the Eagles taking that division, and the Cowboys being second with identical records.
I have the Cowboys at 10-6, and I have the Eagles at 9-7. Yeah, so we're pretty agreed. You know, it's gonna be really close between those two.
And I will do this caveat because everything I just said gets chucked out the window if Wentz can't go 16 games.
Agreed, because they do not have Foles to fall back on this year.
No, I'm just going to throw this out here as a $1 million question. Who is their number 2, Kyle? Nobody knows.
I have no idea who their number 2 is. Who is their number 2?
Yeah, does it matter?
I'm actually really. It's not Mark Sanchez, is it?
No. Okay, well, anyway, I got Philadelphia going 10 or more, Dallas going 10 or more, the Giants at 8 or less, and the Redskins at 8 or less. So I got Philly, then Dallas, then the Giants, then the Redskins.
And I have Dallas, Philly, New York, and Washington.
And I can see if Washington goes at any time in the season, Washington gets behind record-wise, Haskins comes in.
Yeah.
But they've got a brutal schedule.
Yeah.
They really do. And I could see either one of those, Washington or the Giants, beating a team they're not supposed to beat.
Yeah. Their backup is Nate Sudfeld, but he got hurt, so I have no idea who their backup is.
No, if I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I'm going, this is the best team we've had.
Yeah.
But if our quarterback goes down, there's injury prone right there. That's injury prone. He's injury prone. What is the plan? What is the plan? It's almost like, let's start in week 7. Let's bring him in week 7. That way he can go 8 or 9 or 10 games where he's not going to get hurt.
Right.
But to me, the most intriguing is of the two conferences, NFC to me has more the Game of Thrones type of feel to it.
Yeah.
Prior to this last season of Game of Thrones.
I need some mouthwash. That was terrible. Anyway, so getting into the playoff seedings. So I have Saints number 1, Bears number 2. Then I have Rams, Cowboys, Seahawks, and Vikings as my 4 teams playing in the wild card weekend. So I have the Rams going to the Vikings. Or I'm sorry, I have the Vikings going to the Rams and the Seahawks going to the Cowboys. Rematch.
Well, I've got first round. I got Green Bay going into Minnesota and Dallas going into Philadelphia.
Okay.
Which tell me that wouldn't be the best NFC wild card weekend they've had in years. 2 divisional games to make the play. I was just going, I don't know.
Oh, if I'm the broadcasting networks, I'm salivating over that, just going, yes.
And then I think Philadelphia goes into New Orleans and Minnesota goes to LA. Okay. So I got New Orleans and LA being 1 and 2.
Okay.
Then I think it's LA goes into New Orleans, and then New Orleans goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And I have the Seahawks upsetting the Cowboys. I have the Rams beating the Vikings. So then we have Seahawks going to the Saints and Rams going to the Bears. And let's do a little Saints-Bears action.
The Bears. Okay, you got the Bears being the number 2 seed in the NFL or in the NFC?
In the NFC, yes, I
do. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so I have a Bears-Saints NFC Championship game
in New
Orleans with the Saints winning. So we're finally getting it. We're getting a Brady Breeze Super Bowl.
Oh, let me just say, if the Bears defense is half of the Bears or 3/4 of the Bears defense from last year, and they make it to the NFC Championship and they go into New Orleans, I don't see New Orleans coming out of that game where there's not injuries.
Oh, I agree.
And I hate this for Super Bowls. I want it to be
I do too.
The best of the best. I want no injuries. I don't want this guy. I remember it was very irritating to me that Gronkowski wasn't playing in that Atlanta Super Bowl. Because I was going, I want the best. I don't want it because no matter how it plays out, that's the guy you want to see in a Super Bowl. I mean,
I agree.
I want to see that in a Super Bowl. I
want to see him in the Super Bowl, Rob. I want to see my boy in the Super Bowl.
No, but I don't want to ever see the number 2 anything.
Yeah.
In the Super, I don't even want to see the number 2 punter in the Super Bowl. I want to see it being the best that they can field. So there's it's any given Sunday type of a thing.
Yeah.
I'm shocked you got Chicago going all the way and being the number 2 seed.
I'm buying into that defense, man.
Defense is going to have. I think it's very similar to Mahomes' magical season last year. That defense, you can't expect that defense to put up that many points again. You just can't.
Yeah.
They put up They put up more points at one point than their offense had. I mean, just think about that for a second. You're the head coach. You're an offensive guy, and your defense has put up more points than your offense has. And I'm not talking this is the 3rd game into the season. This was like the 9th game.
It's like week 9 or week 10.
Yes. You're just going, okay. Yeah. And see, that's where I think that is the Achilles of that team is that offense. I don't know.
Well, and like I said, I went with the Bears over the Vikings, but if I flip-flop that, I won't be shocked. With the Vikings winning the division over the Bears.
I also wouldn't be shocked to see the Rams go again.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Honestly, yeah, I if we have rematches of the 2 championship games again, I would not be too surprised.
I see. That's where I if you go back, and this is why, and I think Mahomes might end up being in a conversation at the end of his career as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But you just go back and you watch the first 5 games with Kareem Hunt.
Yep.
And there was a significant drop-off in offensive production by the Chiefs. A significant drop-off.
Yeah.
He was at 28 touchdowns at game 5. And he ended up with 51 or 52 touchdowns in 11 more games.
Right.
So it was half of that. It was the same production in twice as many games.
Yeah.
I just don't. And then if you just go, okay, if the Chiefs put up 28 points a game, just 28, they lose 3 games more than they did last year.
Yeah.
That's a significant difference.
No, I agree. I agree.
That's only where, and I'm not going there. Oh, you're saying that because you're a Chargers fan. I wouldn't be shocked if they beat the Chargers twice. I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers beat them twice.
Yeah.
I just don't think that production is able to do what it was last year, because those first 5 games they just annihilated teams. And see, I think that's going to be the Browns this year.
Yeah.
I think I think it's going to be the Baker Mayfield game 5. He's sniffing at 30 touchdowns, and they're going to. If the talk is going to be, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. They're going to compare him to Tom Brady, and then you're going to hate Baker Mayfield and the Browns.
Hey, you know what? It's going to be hard for me to hate Baker Mayfield. I love watching him play.
This is what I don't understand. So Aaron Rodgers, who has proven himself, has won a Super Bowl. I believe he's won an MVP.
Yeah.
Is basically at the end of his career telling his head coach, I don't care about you. I'm good enough to my own thing. Baker Mayfield, who'd never stepped on the field in the NFL team, is telling his head coach, I don't need you. And you're fine with that because nobody has made the comparison to Mayfield to Tom Brady.
Oh, man. Oh, gee. Here we go. All right. So that's our NFC predictions. We'll be back soon. We're going to do a little...
In our NFC predictions, talking about Tom Brady.
Yes.
You railroaded this whole show.
Hey, you know what? What can I say? He's the most intriguing. All right, so when we come back, we'll be doing some most intriguing offensive, defensive, or defenses, some individual players, and what are we looking forward to this season. We'll see you next time. Again, be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube at the Kyle and Not Kyle Show. We'll see you next time.